I think they're misrepresented. I think in a lot of like movies and TV shows, like they're kind of exploited and they're seen as like sexual objects, or like the damsels in distress, and I just think they're hypersexualized a lot in the media.
Media has influenced. Media influences everything in our life. Like, you can't escape media, and especially with the culture that we're in today with constant updates to our phone and email and Twitter and Facebook and everything. And I'm a person who checks social media at least several times every single hour of the day. So yeah, it does influence it, but me personally, I feel like how I grew up and who I grew up around is more of an accurate representation than what I see based on media and TV and internet.
I think women are definitely misrepresented in the media. I mean, women are always overly sexualized in one way, and then women are always portrayed as being the damsel in distress, and they can't do anything for themselves, and they're not necessarily smart. And then there's also the whole women of different ethnicities and women of color being misrepresentation. It's seen as being exotic if you're a different ethnicity. And if you are of the white majority, you're seen as being the perfect woman, but only if you've got like the blonde hair and the blue eyes and the right type of smile and the right red lips, and it's definitely a big mess.
Sometimes I feel that way. Like, it depends on the type of media. Like, the majority of the time women are viewed as sex objects or whatever, or sex symbols, sex symbols. And I don't know, it just depends on the type of media that you're looking at. Like music and everything else, yeah. They're viewed as like sex symbols. I think the media has something to do with this, considering the good chunk of the people who sit in these offices are being ran by men.
As you go up the ranks in media, fewer and fewer women and people of color exist at every rung of the ladder.
That means that 97% of everything you know about yourself and about your country and your world comes from the male perspective. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that in a democracy where you talk about equality and full participation, you've got half of the population, more than half of the population, not participating.
What happens is these studio chiefs who, or people like myself, writer, producers, or directors, we see the world in a certain way, and we don't really challenge that often. And so we just replicate the world that we grew up in without really asking why we're doing it.
Well, I think it depends on the source, and it depends on the purpose. I mean, there's a lot of instances where women voluntarily represent themselves in a certain way, whether it's to be classy and conservative or provocative and liberal. So as far as misrepresentation on a general level, I wouldn't say so, because there's just such a wide variety of purposes. I just read a story the other day about this Australian talk show host who wore the same suit for a year, and nobody noticed and nobody said anything to him. But that was in direct response to his female co-host, who daily get criticisms on what they wear, and letters from viewers saying that they need to learn better fashion. So, I mean, you have the females that are criticized more for what they wear, and then the males, and it's just like overlooked. So I would say, in that sense, that people are more critical of what women wear. As far as misrepresentation, I think it's more on the female to put that on themselves and portray how they want to be portrayed. But there's a wide variety of people and a wide variety of interpretations. So it depends on the viewer. What one person sees as provocative, another person can see as not provocative and completely acceptable.
Now, Carlos, over the weekend, the internet went just a little bit crazy over the fact that it was revealed that Carl has been wearing exactly the same suit every single day on this show, at this desk, in that chair, for one whole year. Now, the reason that this all started, this was a show of support for me after I did the Andrew Ollie speech a year ago,
Yes.
and you were very much in accord with me about the sort of issues that happen for women on television and
Yes.
criticism over what we wear, and I talked about that in the
Yeah.
speech, and you said, you know what, Dale, I'm going to wear
Yeah.
the same suit every day and see if anyone notices.
Well, actually, it started with me wearing the same suit for about a month before I even told you.
Oh, did you? So
Yeah.
it wasn't a show of support at all?
No. What I was doing was, I was saying after a month, I said, right, Lisa, do you know that I've worn this suit for a month? Let's just see how we go. And you went, yeah, cool, that would be fun.
Yeah.
And so that's what's happened, with the exception of a couple of days for dry cleaning and the like.
Yeah.
But the issue is, like, I don't know, some people have called it sexism and reverse sexism and whatnot, or whatever it is. I don't know whether it's that, because can sexism be mainly women judging other women? And I think in this situation, for women on TV, it's mainly women judging women and what they wear. So is that sexism, is my question.
So we have this ideal that women are supposed to have like the perfect bodies and that it's this way or no way, but now it's like more accepted that yes, it's okay that you're not the size 0 or whatever it is. And I think that we idealize ourselves and have unrealistic expectations, and I think that we're slowly getting out of it, but it's still there.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times in media, women are represented as like very stereotypically. Like tropes I see a lot are like damsels in distress, and that they need like men to take care of them, and they can't do anything themselves without like a strong man in their lives. Particularly with like women of color, I feel that the media represents them very negatively, which also leads to like issues with racism. Like black women in particular are always portrayed as like, I don't know, like aggressive and mean, and just like ghetto and ratchet. The examples I think of are like shows like Bad Girls Club. I feel like it's a really bad representation because that is not reality, it's for entertainment. And obviously not all like black women act like that in real life, which is why media representation is an important thing.
For the most part, yes, because of like other influential figures, like for example, like Nicki Minaj, for example, she always has risque photos. Kim Kardashian, she just posted some crazy photos for a magazine cover. So I think there's a few women that ruin it for all.
Yes, it's definitely. I think it's something that is showcased throughout cinema, definitely within the traditional feminine construction of the woman as being less to man, as in always needing a man to save them or something of that sort within many films, from True Lies to many of the superhero films that are out. It's something that is traditionally seen. You see it all the time, where the woman is always bound to the man. The man is always needed to save and protect the woman. So yeah, I think it's totally a misrepresentation in the media.
I mean, the only thing that I can think of that would influence that is just men in general. Just, I mean, it sounds really bad to say that men are the problem, but we don't necessarily look at a woman with blonde hair and blue eyes and think, oh, she's perfect, unless we're looking at her in a movie, and then we're like, oh, she's perfect, it's the Mary Jane of the movie. But like, we can see, I know that I see every woman for a different beauty, because they all have a different beauty. Everyone has their own beauty. And that's kind of a thought that all women have of each other, but it's not represented in the media, and it's not held the same respect for men.
My ideal type of woman is someone that's very responsible and intellectual and questioning of the world around her, but also able to manage her time well and mature, and someone who's willing to go out and go after what she wants.
The progressive media has sort of influenced my mindset on wanting a woman that is strong and independent and able and is able to have equal footing with me, and is not intimidated to, is not intimidated by the patriarchal construction that is presented over them. So I guess you could say that sort of influences me, I guess, the more progressive angle where women are on equal footing with man. So I would want a woman that is equal to me in every way. So I guess that would say might be my ideal woman.
I think there's a lot of different trends that happened throughout history. Like before it was, oh well, the wealthier you are, then the bigger you are. And it did the same thing with skin color and all this. So I think it's just another trend that the skinnier we are, the more attractive we are. But I think it's just gonna phase out.
My ideal woman is a classy woman, to be honest. A girl that doesn't flaunt everything she has. But like, unfortunately, that's not how it is on media. I feel like on the media, they make it seem as if everybody wants, the Kim Kardashians or the Nicki Minaj's or the Iggy Azaleas, but like that's not me.
So you don't think that media influenced your type of woman at all?
Me personally, I feel like I'm strong-minded. I don't let it influence me, but for the most part, I feel like media influences the masses.
So too, I think definitely the media can influence our perceptions of what beauty is and beauty standards in general. Personally, for me, I've never seen an Asian person in any type of beauty ad. Most of the times it's always a white person. And I mean, when you think about it, yeah, in America, the majority of people are white, but it's a mixture of lots of people. There are black people, there are Hispanic, Asian, but you never really see that a lot of times. It kind of gives off the idea that people of color aren't important enough, or they just aren't beautiful enough to be featured in these ads. And it's not just a thing in America, specifically in Asia. I know that more and more ads are featuring white people in the beauty ads and fashion ads instead of Asian people, which obviously doesn't make sense for the demographic. So it's kind of sending off this message, what are you really trying to say? To be beautiful, do you have to be white or what? So yes, I think media does affect people's perceptions of beauty.
Okay, well, there's I think there needs to be more, maybe movie-wise, more Hunger Games, where the female character her goal isn't to marry a man or to find a man or get married. There's other things in her life that she can accomplish, and that she can be, a strong, independent person. I just think a lot of movies The House Bunny and stuff, and women are just used to look at their bodies and stuff instead of seeing them as a human being.
I tremble. You can't be what you can't see.
It's extremely important for women to be writing their own stories and giving them to people to really emotionally become impacted by.
The media can be an instrument of change. It can awaken people and change minds. It depends on who's piloting the plane.